This is my ninth video. In this video, I just want to kind of give an update in regard of my perps and my gang stalking and my targeting. I'm making this quick video right before I go downstairs and where all my perps actually lives with me. I live in a house town where townhouse. Sorry, I live in a townhouse where I live with a bunch of roommates that I'm sure they're all perps and are here to harass me. They're having a get together, so I'm gonna go there and just gonna see what kind of harassment they're gonna push on me. So this is the first portion. I'll come back to the second portion. All right, talk to you guys later.
Can you put your number in there, and then I'll send it to you.
I've been on my phone.
And I'll have your number so I can bother you.
Oh wow.
It starts on
So I just got back. It's a get together. Obviously it was just to kind of lure me and observe me in person. So like as I expected, they kept using the trigger word, trying to get some kind of provocation out of me. But I just want to kind of describe my current perps. It's interesting because it's the irony is beyond me. So most of my current roommates are in their mid to early 20s, early to mid 20s. You call them very like liberal-ish. Some might pretend to be feminists or whatever. But it's interesting. I've noticed that. So they obviously know, that I know that they're there just to kind of provoke me, to annoy me, to keep going through their whole script. And it's funny, as soon as just for fun, I like to watch those testimonies around them, and as soon as I watch them, they keep yelling, they keep yelling lie or not true, especially when I'm watching like a testimony from a woman TI, and when that TI talks about the sexual assault and the different, how they've been remotely raping them, just like as the typical thing they do to us TI. But it's interesting because the way they try to portray themselves right now. Most of the perp are trying to pretend that they're some kind of feminist, that this is a feminism cause, right? That I heard so many women that this is revenge for that, right? And first of all, the first thing I say is like, okay, where are those victims that I did so much wrong to, right? Where are they? When I usually try to interact with them, but I know it's just a way to kind of lure me. But they try to use this feminist cause where it's just a fraudulent. They're not really feminist because we know that there's a lot of terrible things that are happening to our sister TI that are very grotesque to say the least. But I tested, one of them once. They're my roommates, and I'm like, once I just I showed a testimony of one of the TIs, and this TI was describing what was happening to her for the last 3 years, and I played it off as if like, oh, have you heard of this like phenomenon? Obviously, I I know that it can come out and say, so just to see the reaction, and it's a way for me to kind of see what kind of how they delude themselves into doing what they're doing. And she was trying, the individual, that perp specifically, was trying to stay strong and just watch it, and I can see. So it's a lot of delusion because they're all young. Um, I mean, the oldest beside me there was maybe 27, the max, right? And a lot of early 20s. So I can see how they could be easily influenced into this, thinking that it's exciting and whatever, and not knowing that what they're doing is not only terrible, but it's something that is really hurting a lot of people and is really crime against humanity. And what they're doing is monstrous. When the time comes, when justice comes, there's no there's no coming back from what they've done and what they're doing. But yeah, so I noticed a few things. One, every time I kind of, they throw out some few triggers. They were, we dared, whatever. And every time they said that, I look at my phone, looking at the testimonies and looking at them. Because what they're doing, they're trying to justify what they're doing to me based on what I might have done, which is narrated in a way. And they claim that somehow I've, victimized so many people, which I'm waiting, for the day for those so-called victims to come out. I'm not untouchable. I'm not a wealthy man that can bury cases, can bribe people. I don't have that. So for those so-called feminists, they're frauds. They're fraud feminists. They are real feminists. It's not. I understand that a lot of TI have specific people kind of looking like they're the one targeting them. Some I've noticed a specific where they think Latinos are are mostly perps. Others I've heard they're like Jewish. Other I've heard that they're black. That there's a specific type of people targeting. For me, they trying to portray this feminist, liberal, good doer, act. Which I know is they're not the one pulling the strings. I know it's just the facade. And I know that especially when they're doing what they're doing and knowing that a lot of the other victims are also women that are being treated this way, the same way as I'm being treated, if not even worse. Um, and they are part of this, they're partaking in this program that is horrible. I mean, whatever level they are, I know they're not the top people. They probably are the bottom feeders, but still, you are contributing in something so disturbing. But for them, it's just almost a game. They laugh about it. I know it's forced. I know it's like they have that nervous smile and those forced laughter. Um, but you know, it's also almost sad for me to see that. Okay, I know what they're doing to me is terrible. I should hate them, right? I should just want the worst for them. But when I see them, especially being that young, being early 20s, and I almost feel bad when I know what they're doing is, I'm the one who's victimized. I'm the one who's being targeted. But seeing who's being used to do it, this daily work, I almost feel bad for them. It's hard for me to just hate them. Is because they act as if it's a game. They don't see the seriousness of what or the consequences of what they're doing, right? And like one of the TI said, it's no free pass. You have to, whatever you've done, and this is terrible thing. I know nobody's perfect, but this is, I mean, this evil, top-notch evilness. So you have to some point, somehow there'll be justice for what you've done. And you, for that, my friend, I mean, for being responsible, being part of this program that ruined and are ruining thousands of lives, if not millions of lives all across the globe, and thinking that it's okay, it will come back at some point, and you have to, there will be consequences for this terrible program you've been in that have caused people to die, that have tortured people for years, that even pushed people to kill others that weren't even targeted, but they were just collateral damage. But for them to just act like it's a game, I understand they're young, and I'm sure they're pretty well. I mean, they have people, their handlers are probably putting them on the right path, and it's exciting. There's a large group of people doing it. It's almost like a you know it's you're on the popular side because they're presenting their narrative however they're presenting it. So I understand the excitement, like, but the consequences. I mean, there's no amount of money you know for doing what they're doing. It's not. If I can see them trying to delude themselves that if they really are are some type of activist, of radical activist, or whatever they're trying to. It's just there's no way you can. I mean, I understand people can be brainwashed in a way, thinking that things are okay because there's so many doing it and there's so many people they might look up to involved in this, and the way they're demonizing the target individual, the way they're demonizing me, you know, mind you, I know I'm not perfect, but whatever they're trying to, it makes no sense. And if that's the case, if I've victimized so many, where are those people? Where, who am I to, like I don't have the means to like bribes people to, to pay judge. I mean, like we're not talking about like a millionaire, or even close to, you know, it makes zero sense. Um, so however they're deluding themselves, you know, it just makes zero sense. And I understand that they have other assets to play their their narrative in my head. I don't want to be into that. But I mean, it's bogus. You know that the people behind this are some of the worst of the worst. We know those people are the type of people that might be doing the things that you're trying to put in my head and getting away with it. But you are willing to play dumb to advance yourself wherever, if it's experience, if it's money. I mean, you have options in life. Nobody forced that into you. If you feel like that was the shortcut to your success, you paid a very, very dear price for it. And at some point, you'll have to find out the consequences of those terrible actions, which consist of being in a program that torture, sexually assault remotely, so it's sophisticated, civilized, push people to suicide or push people to suicide by cops, which we know has been done, meaning that others have been hurt because of it. Basically, making the environment even more dangerous for others because you are pushing an individual into a place where they lost their mind, which like I keep saying, I do not approve or I don't think it's a good idea, but it has happened. We know that target individuals have lost they lost their mind completely and were willing to hurt others, and at the same time be okay being and die, because at that point death was okay, but before going they wanted to take others with. Um, so that I just wanted to give you a little bit of what happened after this little get together. Is probably what they all wanted to lure me in this. Obviously I took some footage of it. I'm gonna try to put to add it to my video, but I don't know if I should just blur the faces. But they look they look very sketchy. They look like they wouldn't want to see themselves in these videos because they are what they are in these videos. I know it's easy to delude yourself when you don't have to look at you do looking at yourself doing what you're doing, but when you act of doing what you're doing, even in the video, it appears like what you are. So just want to give you an update. I just continue to. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning about my specific targeting and the way they're approaching. Like I said, I noticed that everybody have a specific group. Some say they're Russian mafia. They're saying they specific race. Other I do believe it's all a facade. At the end of the day, there's people pulling the strings are not visible. Um, and don't be fooled by the facades. They're there just to present something. I know, it doesn't make sense. They're this so-called feminist young, you activists, which I'm all for feminism. I'm all for right activism, but what they're doing is just a fraud. If anything, they are insulting true feminists and true activists, people who are really trying to make changes. Um, but yeah, but just want to give you an update. Thank you again for all the comments, and I'll continue to talk about my targeting. And please continue to make your testimonies, make your voice heard. As little as it is or as large as it is, continue. I find strength in watching others talking about their targeting, and I mean not to be selfish, but knowing that there's others going through this gives me strength, because if they can do it, I can do it too, and it does give me strength, and I will continue to talk about what's happening to me. All right, guys. Thank you again, and God bless you all.